The story of Pastor Franklin Graham, a flame of hope. On December 25th of that year, amidst a festive Christmas atmosphere, the community gathered at the city's grand church for a special ceremony to honor one of the greatest evangelists of our time, Franklin Graham. He is the son of Pastor Billy Graham, who dedicated his entire life to spreading the message of God, helping the impoverished, and leading millions to the light of faith. Franklin not only followed in his father's footsteps but also carved out his own unique legacy through his personal efforts, becoming a symbol of hope for many, not just in the Christian community but throughout society. The ceremony began in the morning, with crowds filling the expansive space of the church, while the gentle sunlight outside illuminated the peaceful holiday scene. People gathered not only to hear Franklin preach but also to pay tribute to the unwavering contributions he had made to family, friends, and those around him. The smell of gingerbread cookies and traditional dishes blended with the warm atmosphere, creating a friendly and intimate environment. As the lights in the church dimmed, a respectful silence enveloped the hall. Franklin took the stage, dressed simply yet elegantly in a navy blue suit, white shirt, and red tie, a symbol of Christmas joy. His father's influence was apparent in the way he spoke. His style was simple yet inspirational, and his voice, though warm, was also powerful. Today, we are not just celebrating the birth of Jesus, but it is also a wonderful opportunity to reflect on what God has done for each of us, Franklin said, his eyes shining brightly. He began to share stories from his missionary journeys across the globe, from impoverished areas in Africa to orphanages in Eastern Europe. Each story was like a page from a book, providing the audience not only with experiences but also with valuable lessons. I remember one trip to a small village in Tanzania, where children spent all day just wandering around an empty lot. When I asked them what they dreamed of, they only wanted a desk to go to school. That was when I realized that in life, the simplest things bring us happiness. Like other stories he often shared, that memory touched not only the intellect but also the hearts of those present. Franklin continued to speak about the message of hope he always carries. We may not change the whole world, but we can change one life. Love knows no boundaries. It exists to heal and connect us together. Despite the bright smile on his face, the crowd was unaware that inside him he was fighting a sharp pain in his chest. It felt as though a weight was pressing down on his heart, but he decided not to let that uneasy feeling shake his spirit or message. He gripped the microphone tightly, continuing to articulate his ideas about love and hope. As he neared the end of his sermon, the pain grew increasingly intense. Suddenly, he felt dizzy, and a wave of anxiety surged within him. "Please pray with me for those who are suffering, for the good things to come," he exclaimed. But his voice was no longer as confident as before. His legs began to feel weak. In a distant corner, members of the organizing team noticed something unusual. They assessed the situation and quickly moved closer, gently placing their hands on his shoulder. "Franklin, are you all right?" one of the organizers called out. But Franklin managed to whisper, I want to finish the sermon," and he struggled to continue speaking. In his mind, he was praying for strength, praying that this moment would not end in a tragic way. Even though he continued with determination, albeit haltingly, that emotionally charged moment caused many to ache inside. The audience around him began to sense the tension in the air. Something was not right, but those present remained patient, continuing to listen to his words. God has taught us that in our hardest times, we must look for the light. Each of you can. But just as his sentence was not finished, Franklin suddenly collapsed. A deathly silence fell over the auditorium. Tears began to fall like rain from the faces filled with sorrow. Medical personnel hurried to the scene, and cries of desperation came from many who reflected the harsh reality they could not accept. No, this can't be. The scene became chaotic as they attempted to revive him. Voices of prayer echoed in the air. "Bless him, Lord, please save him." In a mix of hope and fear, most reassured themselves that this was merely a small challenge he had to overcome. But in a flash, like a light turning off, Franklin was gone. His face became serene as if he merged with God. Time seemed to stand still in that moment when everyone not only lost an inspiring leader but also a friend, a mentor, a spiritual father. They could hardly believe that things would never be the same again. No more stories, no more sermons, no more knowing glances from him. A pervasive sadness engulfed everyone, and an endless sense of regret flooded in. News of Franklin's passing spread quickly. Messages of condolence came from all over the country, from letters, articles, to memorial videos, all saying the same thing: his legacy lives on. Those who had been touched by him found themselves reflecting back. They realized that it was he who opened new paths, helping them find the value of forgiveness, compassion, and especially genuine love. Memorial services began to sprout everywhere. In parishes, people gathered, praying together amid flickering candles, feeling the light he had left behind. A close-knit group of residents decided to hold a large service at the local park where people could come to remember him and share fond memories. They prepared traditional Christmas dishes to create a warm and loving environment, just as Franklin always did for those around him. That Christmas Day was unlike any before. Amidst the joyful atmosphere, those gathered took time to share stories about Franklin, from his sermons to cherished memories from various charitable events. Their eyes at that moment were not just filled with sadness but with deep gratitude. They felt happier remembering the beautiful things he had brought forth. One attendee, a middle-aged woman, shared that it was Franklin who helped her overcome her battle with cancer. "He called me as soon as he heard the news. He told me I was never alone, that God was with me," she said, her voice trembling. The murmurs mixed with tears were still tears of joy. Joy from the beautiful memories of a person who had passed yet left values that would never fade. Life went on, but the stream of spirits would always remember his image. Charitable foundations were established to bring hope to the poor children he had spoken of in his sermons. Acts of kindness continued from the hands of the organizations he had built. His departure felt like a perfect piece to a picture of a life lived wholly for faith, love, and compassion. The legacy that Franklin left behind will never extinguish in the minds of those he came close to. A large memorial service was held on a weekend, with thousands of people from all walks of life in attendance. Speakers, many of whom had worked with Franklin, shared the values he imbued in their hearts. Each story, each everlasting sermon from their mouths served as a reminder that he was still present in every loving action they extended to one another. Together, people lit memorial candles, the flickering flames symbolizing hope, the love that Franklin had sown in each person. In the dim light, a voice arose. "Let us continue this legacy, let us keep doing good things for him, for ourselves, and for this world." The applause erupted, instantly becoming a collective pledge among everyone present. They pledged to continue living, to embark on a new journey enriched by the mark Franklin had left. In the days that followed, collective activities like serving food to the homeless, organizing volunteer classes for impoverished children, and assisting the elderly within the community took on a vibrant life. Each action carried a message, continuing the light that Pastor Franklin had ignited. The values of love, compassion, were not only perpetuated but multiplied exponentially, like a wave of unending ripple. Time passed, but the image of Franklin Graham remained steadfast in the hearts of all. He was a figure who not only represented the connection between human beings but also united them with a sturdy fence of hope. Memories of him will always remain vibrant, like an everlasting flame. In the future, many may rise to continue Franklin's dream, executing charitable programs, organizing teachings on love and hope. They would set off to distant lands where people still faced many struggles, bringing help, encouragement, and a bit more light into their lives. The flame of love that Franklin ignited will never diminish. It will continue to grow, strong and inspiring many who seek light in their darkest moments. In some way, Pastor Franklin Graham's death opened a new chapter in the stories of love, hope, and forgiveness. What he had sown through years of dedication to God and humanity has now blossomed within many. They pledged to never forget him, to continue living by the principles he taught. His presence will forever remain with them, like a lighthouse guiding them through their life journeys. Even though he has passed, future generations will always remember the one who lived fully for a noble purpose, a person who tirelessly spread the message of love to everyone. Franklin Graham's legacy is not just his sermons, the stories he told, but is also the vivid image of a person dedicated to the walk of God, a person who showed that love could change the world. As the sun finally set on the last memorial service, everyone left the church, hearts heavy but filled with faith and hope. They knew life would go on, and Franklin's legacy would forever be alongside them, like a guiding light amidst the ongoing challenges and hardships of the world. They eagerly moved forward, with strong spirits and hearts filled with love, carrying the legacy he painstakingly nurtured, a legacy that will exist forever in the actions and souls of each individual. The foundation of family and living values. Franklin Graham, a symbol in the Christian world, is not only the son of the great pastor Billy Graham but also the one who built a meaningful life based on the values that his family instilled in him. He was born on July 14, 1952, in Asheville, North Carolina, in an environment where religion was not only part of life but also a guiding direction for everyone. His mother, Ruth Bell Graham, was also a visionary woman, with profound thoughts and life philosophies, who greatly influenced Franklin's soul and decisions. From a young age, Franklin witnessed his father's trips. He was not only a pastor but also an evangelist who brought God's message to millions around the world. From childhood, Franklin was taught that life was not just about living for oneself but also about caring for and loving others. Stories of kindness, forgiveness, and love conveyed by his parents deeply impressed him, forming the foundation for the journey he would undertake in the future. However, growing up was not entirely a bed of roses. Throughout his childhood, Franklin faced numerous challenges and pressures, particularly as he felt overshadowed by his father's immense legacy. Despite Billy Graham's successes, Franklin encountered many difficult phases in finding his own motivation. He had wandered into distractions and temptations of life, but gradually realized that only faith could redeem him. The career transition. Franklin's official journey into ministry began more robustly in 1980 after he experienced a life-changing encounter at a religious conference. There, he found a deeper connection with God and made the decision to commit to a life of service, far removed from his previous experiences. In 1981, he became the executive director of the Billy Graham Association, which was built with numerous evangelistic plans. Franklin began organizing evangelistic crusades across various cities and countries, drawing millions of attendees. He not only inherited his father's legacy but infused his own spirit into the work. Each sermon was imbued with personal effort and passion, helping listeners find peace and hope. Not stopping there, Franklin expanded his vision globally. He initiated many programs to assist those in distress and abandoned. Notable projects include Operation Christmas Child, where children around the world have the opportunity to receive Christmas gifts and school supplies. This project was not just about delivering gifts but also about awakening faith and hope in young hearts. Crises and challenges. Franklin's life was not always smooth sailing. He faced significant challenges, from work pressures to personal crises. Particularly in 2001, after the September 11 terrorist attacks, Franklin felt enormous pressure from the community. He organized numerous prayer gatherings and evangelistic events throughout the U.S., calling for compassion and forgiveness. He also directly participated in relief efforts for victims of natural disasters, such as the earthquake in Haiti in 2010. In these emergency situations, he was not only a spiritual leader but also actively helped victims. Under his leadership, Samaritan's Purse provided food, medical care, and psychological support to millions in need. Franklin often shared, "God has given me the opportunity to do the things I have always wanted to do. I believe that helping others is serving God." Besides the external pressures, Franklin also struggled with internal conflicts. Each day, he faced doubts and challenges in fulfilling his mission. During such times, he often turned to Bible verses, especially Proverbs about perseverance and faith. Franklin reminded himself many times, "Everything happens for a reason, and we just need to trust God." The battle against illness. In 2020, Franklin Graham unexpectedly received a cancer diagnosis. This news was a significant shock not only for his family but also for the entire community of citizens and his devoted followers. However, before the daunting waves of life, Franklin did not falter. Instead, he chose to face reality with courage and resilience. Throughout his treatment, he wrote the book, Standing Firm in Trials, in which he shared not only about physical pain but also the process of seeking light amidst darkness. The book became a source of encouragement for many patients and those fighting illness. He wrote, "Only faith can help us overcome the darkest nights. When we have no strength, it is God who will be our strength." His resilience inspired millions. During his treatment, large prayer gatherings were held nationwide. People came not only to pray for his recovery but also to show solidarity and love for the community. Visitors from afar contributed to a picture of humanity and hope. A grand legacy. Before he passed away, Franklin witnessed the growth of Samaritan's Purse and the love he cultivated through charitable initiatives. Many became enthusiastic volunteers, continuing his work. The organization helped millions globally through evangelistic programs, supporting refugees, providing food, medical care, and education for children. The legacy left by Franklin Graham is not just numbers or achievements but heartfelt stories of the individuals he touched. He not only achieved much for God but also emerged as a true spiritual leader, inspiring millions to pursue the light of faith. Specifically, one of the ways he left a profound impact on people's hearts was through his message of forgiveness. Franklin often emphasized, "We are all human, and everyone makes mistakes. The important thing is that we must learn to forgive one another and start anew." This message became part of the culture within the religious community and has been passed down through generations. Smiles and tears. One of the most touching stories about Franklin involved testimonies from those he helped. In Haiti, a woman who witnessed her home being destroyed in the earthquake shared, "When the helpers came, they didn't just bring food but also hope. Franklin came, and when he prayed for us, I felt a supernatural strength protecting me." This story exemplifies Franklin's character and proof of his profound impact on the lives of those he aided. Millions have shared similar experiences, feeling comforted and encouraged when Franklin appeared, bringing hope. Memorial services and the message of Shalom. After his passing, Franklin Graham's memorial services occurred in many places worldwide. From small churches to large arenas, millions gathered to remember him. Heartfelt sermons, stories, and memories about him were shared in warm yet tearful atmospheres filled with love. Many religious leaders participated in the remembrance and affirmed that Franklin Graham would forever live in their hearts. People lit candles and prayed for him, portraying the image of a great father, teacher, and friend leaving this world. Many prominent speakers shared that, not just a pastor, Franklin was a guiding light in dark times. Every attendee carried a unique story about how Franklin touched their lives, and this loss was not just the passing of an individual but an irreplaceable loss within the community. However, they also recognized that the legacy he left behind would live on, like an eternal flame. Conclusion: The everlasting legacies. Franklin Graham's life is not just a personal story, but a journey imbued with deep human values. What he did was not only to assist but also to call upon change. His journey of service and love has become an essential part of the spiritual lives of millions. Many organizations and individuals strive to continue Franklin's legacy, from relief efforts for orphans to serving the homeless. They have spread his message far and wide, not only domestically but also to distant lands. Franklin Graham lived a full life with values that are timeless. He demonstrated that, although the path may be rugged, we can still find peace in faith and forgiveness. And if each of us lives as Franklin did, with love and compassion, the world will undoubtedly be a better place. Reflecting on his life, one clear fact remains. Franklin Graham was not just a pastor in tradition but a volunteer, a friend, a leader, and a hero of love. Even though he has passed, his spirit and heart will always live on in the hearts of many. Each time a candle is lit, each time prayers are lifted, it is not merely moments to remember a person, but also efforts to restore the mission and legacy he entrusted to this world. Franklin Graham's love, memories, and the lessons he imparted will never cease. Rather, it will continue to nurture future generations, each of us. Let us live in love as he taught, and Franklin's legacy will exist forever. The life of Franklin Graham is a journey filled with challenges and inspiration. He was not only a religious leader but also a humanitarian, a friend, and a life changer for millions. The legacy he left will live on through those he touched, the projects he initiated, and the message of love and hope he always conveyed. Despite facing numerous hardships throughout his life, Franklin stood firm in his faith and the noble values he championed. He proved that when people know how to love and share, we can create miracles. Franklin Graham will forever be a role model for those wishing to contribute to life, while instilling in fans and the religious community a message of love and hope. His life is a testament to the power of faith and compassion, touching the hearts of millions around the globe.